Jack Shakespeare is the Director of Children, Young People, Families and Research at ukactive, a group that tries to encourage people to exercise. Very good morning to you, Jack. So in your opinion, should playgrounds be open?
Hi, Lesley. Thanks for having me this morning. I think firstly, I just want to say I completely sympathise with councils and local authorities, at this time, doing what they can to look after their residents in extremely challenging circumstances. I think in regards to playgrounds, I think that adhering to local lockdown restrictions and social distancing protocols, we think that local areas should absolutely cater for children's needs to be active outdoors, including the safe use of parks and playgrounds.
Isn't it just as good, though, for them to, I don't know, go for an outdoor walk, find somewhere to sort of be active without necessarily going to a playground that's got lots of touch points?
Yeah, I think generally physical activity is really important for children and young people. Being active supports children's physical, social, emotional development, and especially important during this time of restricted access, and the stimulation that children would normally get from school and other community activities. To your point, it's a really interesting one, because I think when we're making decisions in this space, I think there's three really important things we need to consider. The firstly is that children have as much right as adults to exercise and go outside to do so each day. Getting outside to exercise is promoted as part of government lockdown guidance, and children have that right to do that. To your point, I think secondly is that children exercise in very different ways to adults. The younger a child is, the more important play is to their activity levels. And then they're also much more dependent on adults to facilitate outdoor play, like going to playgrounds. And then just to sort of dovetail on that, outdoor spaces, including playgrounds, are always important. We know that, but especially important right now to those children and families that don't have access to gardens. Those spaces right now, those safe spaces right now are really important, especially for those children and families.
Yeah, absolutely. And as the pandemic sort of underlined the need for people to get out and about regularly?
Yeah, I think so. Look, last week, Sport England published their most recent Active Lives survey for children and young people. It showed children's activity levels during the first lockdown, the first sort of big national lockdown last year, and showing how children's activity levels took a hit. That's particularly the younger age groups and those from lower income families. Parks and playgrounds will likely be an absolute lifeline for these children and families during this lockdown, particularly with the weather that we're having. Those opportunities to get out and play in those playgrounds and play in those parks are going to be absolutely crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is the weather, because I was saying earlier, back in lockdown 1, when parks were open, they did close at one point, but while they were still open, I was taking my children there and the weather was lovely. And so we were able to get out a lot more. But now, obviously, weather being what it is, hearing from Elizabeth Ritzini, we're in for snow potentially this weekend. Does this make you a bit more worried about what the long-term health implications will be?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think because of the weather, and I'm sort of looking out my window now, we've got a break in the rain and a break in the wind. Every opportunity that that children, parents and families and carers can get outside and use those parks and use those playgrounds are really important. So like I said at the beginning, the opportunity to really cater for the needs of children to get outside are really important right now. So, but yeah, look, we've seen the survey, the activity level survey from last year, and activity levels did drop, and we're likely to see the same, if not worse, impact during this lockdown. So we've got to do what we can to get children outdoors and playing as much as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, even in their homeschooling, for, my children are 7 and 4, so they're small, but as part of their homeschooling, it does say physical activity. And, we're supposed to build that into their homeschooling, a time to take them out for walks or what have you. It's just so important, isn't it?
Absolutely. I've got 3 children here. We're attempting to homeschool, and that ability to get outside is really important to us. I think for everyone's mental health in the house, that's really important.
Yeah.
So I absolutely endorse that. And as I say, local areas doing what they can in very challenging circumstances, doing what they can to cater for outdoor activities is really important.
Yeah, and I completely concur that none of us are homeschooling. We are only attempting to homeschool. Thank you ever so much, Jack. Jack Shakespeare there, Director of Children, Young People, Families and Research at UK Active.